Hey everyone, how's it going? Sintlow just coming at you guys with another video, and I just wanted to show you guys this new project truck that I picked up. It's a 1996 Chevrolet Silverado C1500 Stepside, little two-wheel drive truck, little short box, regular cab pickup, and it is really clean considering the year it is and the fact that we're in Michigan, so I think this will be a fun little project. As you can see, it's got really nice leather interior, power windows, power locks, power mirrors, air conditioning, cruise control, all the bells and whistles. And if you look underneath it, you can just see that it is a just really clean, solid truck. So I think we're definitely going to have some fun with this one. Now it's currently a roller, meaning that there's no motor or trans in it. However, it did come with the 4.3 liter V6 and the transmission that was removed from it. But I can tell you, however, that we are not putting that motor and trans back in it. We got a little something different planned for this one. I've already done a couple of things to it. For example, I've given it the POR 15 treatment underneath. I figured while there was no motor and transmission in it, now would be the time to go ahead and de-rust the frame and pretty much get it looking all mint and shiny. So I figured I would do that, which allowed me to get the inner frame rails and all that stuff really good, all the suspension components. So I'm glad I got that squared away and taken care of. So the plan with this one is I'm doing a 5.3 LS swap in it, which I've never done a motor swap before. The only thing I've ever swapped an engine in was a mini bike, so this will be a fun learning experience for me. Now there's tons of information online, and there's already tons of videos on doing LS swaps in general, so I think we'll be able to figure this one out. So if you guys want to stick around and help me LS swap this thing together, you know, that'd be cool. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this thing started. Alright, so in order to do an LS swap, you need an LS motor, and this is what I picked up for it. This is just a LM7 5.3 liter that I picked up out of a 2001 Chevy Silverado. It's nothing fancy at all. It's completely bone stock. According to the guy I bought it from, it had about 170,000 when it was pulled, and it ran and drove and shifted fine. Even came with the transmission, came with the harness, came with the PCM. I'm just going to need a couple of little odds and ends to get it up and running, like the oxygen sensors and stuff like that, but other than that, is a pretty much complete donor power plant. So this is what will be going into our LS Swap 96 Silverado project. Alright, so I'm currently working on removing the old stock V6 motor mounts right now, and I've gotten these two bolts removed so far, and I'm working on these two. I haven't even tried to do the back bolts yet. I'm just trying to focus on these ones first and foremost. And basically the easiest way and the best thing that I've come up with so far to remove them is, you know, it's already been mentioned in another video, but a socket, a 15mm socket with a wobbly extension on it. You wrap it in tape, that way, you know, you can kind of conform it to the angle and whatever, and it will just hold itself the way it needs to be. A couple of long extensions, and what I've been doing is taking this guy here, and you can stick it right up in between the K-member and the lower control arm there, and you probably won't be able to, let me see if I can take this light off. You can kind of see the bolts up there. So what I've been doing is, like I said, I've been taking that wobbly socket with the extensions on it, and before I even crack these things loose, what I've been doing is I've been taking a breaker bar, and from top here I've just been cracking them loose before I even attempt to remove them. And then, this is the secret right here, take your impact and just prop it. Just kind of prop it right there. That way, once you get your wobbly on from underneath, you can just reach your arm up through all this room here and hit that trigger, and boom, you get them bolts out by yourself. So, I'll show you how it's done. Alright, so I got the passenger side 2 bolts in the front out, and let me tell you, driver side, simple. Passenger side, pain in the ass, because for some reason they did not make this K-member symmetrical. For some reason underneath there they added an extra little stiffening plate or reinforcement plate for whatever reason, which makes getting this top one a real pain in the ass. So I had to abort the wobbly in the socket, and I had to come up with this. Now it's a 15mm closed end wrench with another wrench kind of taped to it and through it. Yeah, I know, it's ugly, but guess what? It worked. Alright, so at this point I got the passenger side stock V6 mount out. The last bolt I had to get was this one here, which they, for some reason, stick way back there in that hole right there. Now, I got lucky and I was able to just put my impact on the nut that was holding it in, and once I got it to spin, it just started kind of free spinning, and that loosened up the motor mount a little bit. So what I actually did was, once the motor mount became loose, I just grabbed it and I reefed on it sideways to always apply and keep tension on the bolt going through there, and I just was able to zip that nut off with the impact. So if you run into the situation where the nut is, or the bolt is just spinning in there, you know, I don't even know what to tell you. You're probably gonna have to go ahead and remove your suspension at that point, because I have no idea how the hell you would even get a wrench to that point right there. But anyway, that mount is out, so we're no longer gonna worry about that. It's getting dark around here and the mosquitoes are coming out in full force, so I think we're gonna call it for the night. Next one, we'll finish getting this driver's side one out. Alright guys, so I took an extra couple of minutes and went ahead and pulled the driver's side one out as well. I figured it'd be kind of silly not to, considering I already had all the tools out to do it. My hands were already covered in grease. So the driver's side one, like I said, was much easier to remove than the passenger side one. You just got more room to work on the driver's side, so it was easy to get out. And now pretty much all I got to worry about doing is going to an auto parts store and getting some V8 mounts and putting them in place where the V6 ones went. So stick around for that. So I went and grabbed these today. Anchor part number 2621, and they're about 15 bucks each. And what these do is these go in place of the V6 mounts, and then you got your Dirty Dingo. I picked these up. These are the Dirty Dingo slider mounts, and see how they're slotted here. These actually bolt to the engine itself, and that gives you the ability to slide them and adjust them forward and backward, which gives you the ability to line your drive shaft up and stuff like that, which is a nice feature. And pretty much these attach to the engine, these attach to the engine cradle, and these saddle over just like that, and you're good to go. And I also hit up a junkyard and I was able to grab this leg of this harness that I was missing, because I don't know if I explained earlier, but part of my factory harness was butchered off when they did the removal of the engine and trans. So I went and grabbed that, gathering little parts here and there. But yeah, these were pretty much a big step. So these got to go in the truck here, and yeah. But first, I'm gonna go ahead and throw a coat of paint on them so they don't just rust while they're in there. All right. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling this grill off, these headlights off, and all that stuff. Because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get this core support out. And the reason I'm trying to remove the whole front end and core support, I'm not removing the fenders or anything, just the front end and the core support. It's because I'm trying to stuff the motor and the transmission in as one complete unit. So rather than having to take the hood off and, you know, stuff it, lift it, you know, I'm trying to tilt it and do all this crap and not damage my core support and grill, I figure it'd just be a lot easier in the long run just to pull the grill and the core support off. That way I can just stuff the motor and trans straight back into it, you know, because I'm doing all this by myself. So if I were to leave everything intact and try to shoehorn the motor in like that, you know, I wouldn't be able to like operate the cherry picker and pick up on the tail shaft of the motor and or on the transmission, and you know, it would just be a pain in the ass. So I figure take a half hour, pull the grill, core support off, and that'll just make my life a lot easier. So I'm gonna go ahead and start pulling all that stuff off. Alright, so it took me a little bit longer than anticipated, but I was able to get the core support removed. The hardest part about doing that was getting these air conditioner lines disconnected. This one I was able to get from the, I don't know what you would call that thing, the condenser or whatever, and the other one I had to pretty much get from back there and take the whole line out. But other than that, it was pretty straightforward. Yeah, now look how much more room I got for activities. Now I'll be able to just kind of just shove that motor straight back into there. And you know, while I'm at it, I'm thinking about even pulling this front bumper off because it's only 8 bolts, and then that'll give me, well, that'll just open up this whole area as well. Alright, so I took a few minutes and I peeled the front bumper off. I know it's probably unnecessary, but you know what? Look how much more room I got now. Now I can just step right on in here like, oh, man, look at there. Oh, motor mounts go there. Alright, cool. You know, it's just going to make my life easier in the long run, so what the heck, it was only 8 bolts. But I gotta tell you, man, all you guys that like live out west, down south, Texas, California, Oklahoma, anywhere where you guys ain't got no rust, you guys are all lucky. Because I'll tell you what, just a simple 10-minute unbolting of a bumper can easily turn into an hour up here in Michigan when you're working on just rusty, clapped out junk. But it is what it is. Like I said, I got the bumper off and boom, how much more room I got. So I got all the engine mounts and stuff painted. They've been out here in the sun for a couple of days drying, so say they're good to go. Let's go ahead and get these things put in there. Alright, so I'm doing these motor mounts, and as you can see, I got the passenger side on it. I just don't have it tightened down yet. And how I'm going about installing these is just go ahead and taking the motor mount, taking a bolt, sticking it in there, then just kind of setting it in place. I'll grab another bolt here. Just lining up the bolt holes here. And then what I'm doing is I'm taking this magnetic wand here. I'll move this off here. What I'm doing is I'm sticking it from the top through the hole and to the bottom, and then once I got the wand, you know, through the hole, I go ahead and stick the bolt onto it, and then I just kind of pull it back up and through, and then I put the nut on from the top. So the only difference is I'm installing the bolts upside down technically, but if I was trying to put the bolts in the regular way they came out, you would have one hell of a time trying to get those nuts and everything lined up with the bolts, because yeah. So, and I've seen other people do it this way and it works just fine. So anyway, just figured I'd share that with you. I'll go ahead and get this other one in there and tighten them down. Alright, so I got both motor mounts in and they're both locked down, ready to go. So I think that's going to do it for this one today, you guys. And the next one, we're going to go ahead and keep further prepping this truck, getting it ready for the 5.3 that we're about to stuff in it. So it's getting a little bit closer by the day. Next thing I got to do is pretty much strip this harness off this motor, strip the harness out of the truck, and put the dirty Dingo mounts on, and then we're pretty much ready to put the motor and trans in. So stick around until the next one, you guys. Thanks for watching.